بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. نرحب بالمستمعين. We welcome all of you who are participating in this discussion about this crisis that humanity faces, and Muslims specifically have extra issues, difficulties, challenges to overcome, and most of it is learning. So in connection to the previous session, we were exploring in the Quran what are the dimensions of the word dhunub or sin. And we have come to conclude that sinning has nothing to do with doing something wrong against yourself. Sinning that is in the Quran, and Allah said, has He punished previous nations because of their sin, it means doing wrong things against others. That is what are the sinning, and it does not mean whatsoever believing or disbelieving, because a child will never accept the logic that Allah said no compulsion in religion, and said say the truth from your Lord and let people choose to believe or to disbelieve, and then turn around and when they have chosen to disbelieve, turn around and then punish them. This logic will never be accepted even by a child. So the word dhunub and sin, it is related to doing wrong things in many aspects, and we'll discover that later, against others. And here the summary, and here the conclusion, and here the verse confirming that meaning. In Surah Al-Kahf 59, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَتِلْكَ الْقُرَىٰ أَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا وَجَعَلْنَا لِمَهْلِكِهِمْ مَوْعِدًا. And these are townships of people committed to punishments. We destroy them when they committed inequalities and wrong against others. And we appointed a fixed time for their destruction. Now, Allah said, وَتِلْكَ الْقُرَىٰ, those communities, cities, nations, in the past, that has been mentioned throughout the whole Quran, were destroyed or punished once they have committed to injustice and committed to inequalities and wrongdoing against others. And this is basically summarizing all that discussion. We don't need to go for each one of it. There are maybe 24 verses in the Quran saying Allah has sent His punishments to the sinners in the past. But we need to realize by today that the punishment is for their transgression, injustice, tyranny, inequality, wrongdoing to the others. That is it, and has nothing to do with the belief and disbelief. The verse before that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, to confirm again, وَرَبُّكَ الْغَفُورُ ذُو الرَّحْمَةِ لَوْ يُؤَاخِذُهُمْ بِمَا كَسَبُوا لَعَجَّلَ لَهُمُ الْعَذَابَ بَلْ لَهُم مَّوْعِدٌ لَّن يَجِدُوا مِن دُونِهِ مَوْئِلًا. Allah is the most forgiving and gracious. If He is going to punish people because of what the wrong things they have done to one another, Allah would have speed up their punishments in this life instead of delay to either specific fixed time or to the hereafter. So because He is Ghafoor and Rahim, the wrongdoing that the humanity do in this life, Allah is saying, giving them respite so that they might stop it. Giving them respite, and also giving them continuous warning and messages so that they might wake up and stop doing the transgression. Now, by this, we, from our perspective, coronavirus is not going to be the last. It's not the first, but it's not going to be the last. And so we have to set in mind that these messages are going to continue coming to humanity. And the choice is humanity, whether they want to choose to retreat and return and correct the path, or they want to continue their way. One of these, so now we have discovered tyranny, injustice, spreading corruption, and denying the bounty and misusing the bounties. Now we have come to conclude that these 4 actions are punishable in this life. It's when the punish is not really the what is deserving, but as a reminder and as a warning and as a message to them to stop this kind of bad actions. Again, tyranny, injustice, and spreading corruption and misusing the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another verse that is also confirming that punishment is receivable in this life for specific action, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يَمْحَقُ الرِّبَا وَيُرْبِي الصَّدَقَاتِ. يَمْحَق, annihilate, crush, destroy, eradicate, exterminate, wipe out the interest. And we see all of this coming once and periodically, that the wealth collected from the interest either annihilated, crushed, destroyed, eradicated, exterminated, and wiped out as we see it. And so, and this, because it is a form of wrongdoing to the others. It is injustice. It is inequality. It is taking the money of others for nothing in return. That's what interest is. Taking the wealth and the money, hard-earning money from others with nothing in return. So you took it like that, then Allah take it exactly the same way from your hand and from your positions, and that is, He is the Malik al-Mulk. We also that know humanity at this crisis, they resort to many sources to bring them a understanding, a relief, clue, direction, perspective, so they can continue this life. And definitely one of these resources is the religion. And we are having the best. Our Quran and Sunnah are there, and they are contained all the direction, guidance, and teaching perspective to all the crises that we might face. We can tell this problem is making all human beings, conscious of their existence, that is attached to weakness and inability and little. This is how we see ourselves today as human beings on earth, that we are really existed here for purpose. But we realize that we are weak and we are incapable even to protect ourselves, and we are few, not that many. So, Iman leads us to believe in two things. Number one, that definitely we have a good purpose to be here, and we need to pursue that good purpose. Second, also, that we have a role to play regardless of our weakness and ability and the fewness. So, we have the faculties, the resources, the information to make us work and achieve our purpose and contribute our role despite that we are weak and despite we are limited, incapable, and we are few. Then we come to some forms of this tyranny and some form of this injustice, some form of spreading corruption, and some form of denying the bounties of Allah. Again, it is a collective responsibility of all humanity to provide, to respect life, and to nourish life, and to honor and dignify life of all creations, specifically human beings. And the only thing that you can say, I have discharged this responsibility, if every single human being never starve to death, have always food to sustain their life. Second, they have clothes to cover their bodies. Third, they have good drinking water. Fourth, they have a shelter. It is a collective responsibility, as we know. Whether this human being, a Buddhist or atheist or agnostic or a believer or not believer or a Christian or a Jew or what doesn't matter what kind of faith and belief, this person is entitled, human being as human being, is entitled to be provided with the food, clothes, drinking water, and shelter. And so, these basic things also means the following, that life never taken out without due justice and fair process. Everybody today, everybody killing everywhere the way they want. There is no whatsoever due process in many, many parts of the world. So, it tells us that as a human being, I need the food and clothes and water and shelter, but also I need to be respected, honored, dignified, and treated nicely, equally, fairly, in all aspects, whether I am behaving well or I am committing crime or violating, still there is a due process that I go through in order to establish justice. Also, I need and I want to protect my mind from any substances or any brainwashing or any manipulating intellectually to basically make me different, thinking, not independently thinking, but thinking just similar to someone else that has the means and the ways to shape my way of thinking. The third, also, I need or I want to be protected, the family and my children and progeny are really respected and protected and nourished in the collective society and humanity, helping me to do that. And the fourth, I need my hard-earning money to be protected and to be only under my own authority, never taken away when I feel it is not fair, it is not just like the interest. And the fifth one, the humanity need to preserve freedom of faith and belief. For every human being are entitled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have the freedom of belief. Now, other form of injustice is, here we can see a Syrian refugee in any camp is today, by these conditions, equal and similar to American citizen who is homeless, has no health care, has nowhere to go to survive the day by the day. This Syrian refugee, because of wrong policies, have been taken by the regime, and this homeless, poor, helpless American citizen is also living the same conditions because of wrong policies has been going on in our country for a while. The other injustice, as we see last 20 years, the humanity have invested tremendous amount of wealth in manufacturing, selling and buying and using armaments. And we know from reality, from study, that the only people who are paying the price are the innocent, unarmed civilians around the world. We realize by this virus, this investment is worthless and make no sense. Yeah, virus is killing and we are killing and spending more money. Most of those, especially Middle East, Muslim countries, has bought arms for the last 10, 15 years, what equal to feed every single human being on earth or more. So also we realize that the inciting a part of the society against the other part is making no sense today. That all we are treated by the virus equally. European countries and advanced countries, they have healthcare for every single person in their nations, except United States, where there is no healthcare for millions and millions and millions. And so this crisis might provide direction. Either we say, the way we have been saying, survival only for the fit, the evolution ideology. So those who are weak and who are displaced or who are in bad conditions, circumstances, let them get rid of them, and survival only to be for the powerful, for the one who has, for the one that is well fed. That has been a policy here, and we can see the gap, the dispersion, the division in the community because of this policy. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear. As we mentioned, those basic needs must be provided with no distinction or discrimination. Food and clothes, water and shelter, respecting the life and the mind and the family and the children and the progeny and the wealth and freedom of choice. These are universal rights entitled to every single human being by the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. we know there is a philosophy here that becoming extreme since Reagan has taken the power, that government is the enemy, and this statement, it might be correct, but it means wrong meaning. Yes, the government is an enemy of the citizen if they confiscate their freedom and they limit them and they turn them into a cattle, into a sheep, into a herd. Definitely, the government is powerful and disempowering their citizens, as we see in these countries where tyranny is prevailing, and that is true. But it is not true the government is an enemy when we flip the coin and we see what happened. What is this? What is the alternative? That you give your future and the presence and the destiny and life affairs of your citizen to an entity that is not accountable to the citizens. Why there is a government and citizens? Because there is a covenant between them, election, and hold them responsible, question them, and so on and so forth. Once you say, okay, government is the enemy, let's weaken it, let's remove it, then we basically give the life affairs, essential life affairs of the community and the society and the nations to corporations which they are not accountable to the citizens. And that is where this dispersity is coming in this society. So finally, there is a concept hopefully is going to be changed as a lesson and a message of virus. What that is called American patriotism. And they have been saying it is something related to the armed forces because they put their life in at the front line, sacrifice the best they have, life, in order to protect the rest of the society. But today, we see that we cannot shoot this virus. Armed forces can do nothing for us. They are armed, they are ready to shoot. To shoot what? It's invisible. You can't do anything about it. So, what we see, who is right now on the front line, is not the enlisted men, it's not the armaments, it is the doctors, pharmacists, teachers, caregivers, store clerk, utility worker, small business owner, and so on and so forth. These are the ones who are really on the front line giving their life in order to protect the rest of the society. So these are the ones should be attributed to the patriotism, which is instead of relating and attaching that concept to someone blowing up some others' communities. Look at these people. They are standing at the hardest, tough problem in order for us to basically save our life. So it is time, I think, to, as they say, demilitarize this concept of patriotism and move it from armed forces and give it to those who are right now at the front line. We should salute them and greet them and give them the privileges that we give it to the veteran and honor them and make them going through history as heroes and protectors, definitely sitting heads on the bodies instead of the armed forces taking heads from the bodies. So with this, I think we can see, we are only giving clues, what does it mean? وَتِلْكَ الْقُرَىٰ أَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ لَمَّا ظَلَمُوا وَجَعَلْنَا لِمَهْلِكِهِمْ مَوْعِدًا. We have explored many aspects of this injustice and inequalities and we need to be aware of it. Thank you so much. Jazakumullah khair. See you next time.